Hi guys, my name is Kiliabeto Matabe and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today, this is the first installment of my channel, so it's quite exciting because this is where I actually start talking like really, and it's quite exciting for me and can't wait to get into it. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about how a daily morning routine, how the law of attraction, how, you know, being so spiritually tuned and being able to discern different kinds of energies has really helped me a lot. And I hope that you guys will take a lot from what I'll be saying and maybe try and apply it into your own life if you don't already have your own um, things that you lean on to really just help with your spirit and help with your aura and cleansing your aura and all of that stuff. So a few years ago, a friend of mine introduced me to the Secret, the book. I love reading, so definitely I dived into it. It was the first time I read a self-help book. I read it and my life changed. It really, really just changed how I see things, how I view things, and how I approach things because that's where I learned about the law of attraction. What you think is what you're going to attract, right? So I tried to apply all of that stuff into my life. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight, and also I didn't finish the book overnight. So as I was reading, a lot of things made sense to me, and that is how I then got into practicing the law of attraction. I also practiced gratitude, with the law of attraction. I also read about how, you know, practicing gratitude on a daily basis really will just help with remaining positive throughout the day. Obviously, I mean, it's not, I think, my personal opinion, it's a bit impossible to be like a happy chappy, every day, 365, like it's, yeah, 24 hours a day, that's a lot. Sometimes life happens, but in practicing gratitude, I learned that, even in trials, even in tribulations and the storms and everything, you still remain grateful for the things that you have, you know, which leaves the door open to receive more of what you want, because you are already grateful for what you have. I mean, ultimately, you cannot keep attracting what it is that you want when you are not grateful for where you are, when you are not grateful for what has already been done in your life. So that is the key. That is like for me, that is like the ultimate key. And also practicing positivity. Practicing a positive mindset is looking around and saying, oh, yes, it's a cloudy day today, but I'm so grateful for life. I'm so grateful I got out of bed. I'm so grateful that I'm fine, I'm healthy, my body's fine, I'm not sore anywhere, that kind of things. So I then started to practice a daily morning routine. So I think it was my 27th birthday, if I remember correctly. A friend of mine, another friend, then bought me a journal for my birthday. It was like an A4 journal. It looked all pretty. And I love writing, so I knew I was definitely going to use it to write something. I just didn't know what. So my birthday is in December, which makes it great for starting things in January. I then started to practice the gratitude thing on a daily basis. So every day I would write down 10 things that I'm grateful for in the morning. And I mean, I think I did it for maybe about 4 months. I did it religiously. And I could see my life change. I could see the things that I was attracting, the people that I was attracting, you know, my mood was definitely better, you know. I did it and then I stopped. Fast forward to last year, I tried to find a daily devotion that I could like read every day, but I don't know, none of them were really like talking to me. I couldn't commit to those books, I couldn't, I don't know, it just, I struggled. I struggled a lot, you know. Now this year, I then, I started with, it was actually not this year, I think towards the end of last year, I started with, the Bible app. So I always read the verse of the day. So what the Bible app also has, for those that don't know, they have like a story option, like WhatsApp stories and Insta stories. So after you read the verse of the day, then you can open the story, and then there's like a pastor or preacher or whatever from wherever. It's a different person every day, and then they basically just give like a very short sermon on the word of the day. And then there's like a daily devotion also, and then there's like a prayer, so I felt like that works for me. So that's what I do every morning. I do the Bible app, and then I also pray at a certain time every day. So my prayer time, I then link it with the time for the devotions and that sermon, from the Bible app and all of that. So it's like I call it my praying hour, my spiritual hour. And that has worked a lot for me. It's something that I'm able to like commit to. It's something that I don't feel like is draining, versus all the other daily devotions that I've had to do before, or that I tried to do before, so this helped me a lot. Now, my point now with all of this and what I've learned with gratitude and a daily morning routine and all of that is, there are so many energy vampires out there. So many, so many, so many. And this is not just in people, but in things as well, in places, If you do not feed your spirit, you will not be able to discern different kinds of energies. Social media on its own also can become like an energy vampire. But if spiritually you do not feed yourself, you will not be able to discern. You will not be able to see what's what and who's who and what's, where's where, So I learned how to really be in tune with my spirit. Like I pray twice a day, and at a certain time every day. Like the times are the same, both night and morning, same times. And I make sure, like, I even have an alarm for the night one, because I can easily, like, forget, or get papa me like 30 minutes later or something, or my prayer time, So I have an alarm so that I do not miss my prayer time. That's how serious I am about it, because I'm really serious about feeding my spirit. I really care about the people that are around me, the people that I encounter, the places that I go to, the things I read, the things that I browse on social media. I don't just browse. I know what's going to affect me. And also, I'm a person that I've had an anxiety issue for a very long time, for the longest time, actually, as far as I can remember. I've always been like an anxious person. So I try to consume things that will not heighten my anxiety. That's not going to put me in like an episode of like having an anxiety attack or something. For a while, I was on medication. I was on medication for anxiety. The doctor actually put me on like antidepressants, but obviously a lower dose, because I was not depressed. It was just anxiety. So I took those for like a couple of years, but on and off, because there were times when I felt like I don't want to be on medication every day. I don't want to do that, So when I feel like, okay, I'm fine, I'm not gonna take it. Let's take it one day at a time and see how that works out for me. Until such a time where I felt like I'm going to stop taking the anti-anxiety meds. I stopped, and I'm not gonna lie and say I was not nervous about how I'm going to cope with things that I have no control over. Because the thing with anxiety is you worrying about what you can't control. It's like weird. You're worried about the future. Like, why are you living in the future? If you're not in the future, you're in the past. It's like you are hardly ever in the present, and that's what causes the anxiety attacks and struggling to cope with just the normal daily things that a person can just really just worry about a little. A person with anxiety worries about little things like a lot, and it's really nothing. It's not something that somebody can control. It's a mental issue thing. It's mental health. Mental health issues. Some people like frown upon and think you're crazy because you're on medication. It's like humans are weird. Anyway, so I stopped taking the medication, and I was like, you know what, I don't know how this is going to work out for me, but one thing I know is that I'm going to be in control of myself. I'm not going to take medication to be in control. Like, no ways. Like, hey? Like, and God must see me through. Like, God must see me through with this decision. I stopped taking the medication, and that's where it was very important now for me to really be hard in my prayers. That's where it became important for me to really like not miss prayer. I I pray all the time. I pray throughout the day, and everything that I do, I talk to God. No matter how small it is, I talk to God. It's just towards the end of last year where I then started having 2 prayer times. But I've always had my nighttime prayer. You know, um, there's a girl that I went to school with. She and I actually like quite cool now. We went to high school together. We're like this. She's a girl I go to when I feel like, oh, I need some spiritual enlightenment, or I'm experiencing certain dreams that I don't understand and all of that. Another great thing is my uncle is great at advising spiritually, so I also like go to him because he's like a praying man. He's like a God-fearing man, like hard. He's always been that person that when you just want to talk about God and you don't know who to talk to, you can talk to him. So I have those 2 people in my life that I go to, and I will ask and ask for dream interpretations, or if I'm feeling like my spirit is a bit shaken, I go to them and they will just help me through it. And so this lady that I went to school with, she was the person that actually last year sometime, actually I think it was early last year, so maybe I can say it's been a year now, that she then advised me to pray at the same time every night. Because I did pray at night, but it was not at the same time every night. So she then encouraged me to like stick to a prayer time, and then she told me which time I should pray, because of the time that I go to sleep. Then that's when I started being religious with that prayer time, and then now I use that prayer time at night and in the morning. So it worked well for me, being a person that had to get themselves out of anxiety issues. I had to lean on something, making that kind of a mental and spiritual change. I had to know where to lean on. And for me, the weapon is prayer, nothing else. You know, like even when I'm just like, I don't know what to say, I will light my candles and I will just stare at them until something is able to come out. So please get into a spiritual morning or night routine. I don't know what works for people. For me, it's morning because it's the start of the day. Get into it. Bit by bit, introduce something into your routine until you have a solid routine that you can say, okay, this is what I do. This is what works for me. This is what works for my spirit. This is what works for me mentally and emotionally. Another thing, journal. Journaling is so important. So last year I had a journal that I was using, but I was not like, maybe like the first half of the year, I wasn't writing all the time. And then I told myself that no, but I want to, keep my things out. I need to have that moment of talking to God or writing down what it is that I want. I need to do all of that. So for me, the most important thing that speaks to me with a journal is a message in front of the journal. So this is my current journal that I'm using for this year. And the message in front says, cultivate kindness. So the message in front of the journals that I always pick is because it reminds me of that certain message. So every time I open my journal every morning, because spiritual hour, and I jot down whatever, I say my written down prayers as well and all of that. When I touch my journal, the first message that I see is cultivate kindness. So that's something that I will always try on a daily to practice with the people that I live with the people that I encounter, my friends, people in general, humans in general, even though sometimes, hey, you're like exhausting, eh? Like, sometimes humans are exhausting, guys. Anyway, so that the message speaks to me every day. It's like an affirmation that you need to see. What they say about affirmations, you have to say the same affirmation every day. You have to keep affirming all the time. That's my affirmation for how I should be towards other people. So if you don't know where to get a journal, go to the bookshops. I got mine at Coom Books. So go there. They're not expensive. Can't remember how much mine was, but they're not expensive at all. And just go. There's different kinds of messages on the books, on the covers. So find one that speaks to you. Find one that says, that speaks to you about the kind of person that you want to be. The kind of person that you want to be this year or for the rest of your life. Obviously, I'm going to be taking a different message every year because I'm going to change my journal every year. But, with journaling, you also, the one thing that helps me with the journaling, or what I take out of it, is that it's like it keeps me sane. It's like letting out. It's like I write my daily motivations as well, because I listen to podcasts as well in my spiritual hour, So it's like the key message of the day for me, like what it is that I'm taking out of the podcast. And, so it's like reminders of, oh, this is what it is. Yesterday, I was listening to the podcast and it was about gratitude. So I never know, obviously, what the message is going to be. I listen to Steve Harvey podcasts. So I never know what the message is going to be until I listen. And yesterday it was about gratitude. And I was like, oh, love it, And he was basically saying, in everything that you go through, you must remain grateful. When something is going bad, when you're in a situation and you're just like, oh, but this is bad, man. This is just going bad. Most of the times what we do is that we dwell on the fact that it's bad. not necessarily finding a solution for it, you know. So now your mind is just filled with all this, it's bad, it's bad. I mean, I'm in a bad space, I'm in a bad place, you know. But in none of none of that time, or in any of that time, do you even think about a solution, you know. So practicing the gratitude, being grateful of what has already been done in your life, where you are, you know, you should be grateful, even though in that present moment you are going through a bad time. But you must also be grateful that, you know, God has brought you that far. The fact that you're watching this right now, God pulled you through out of COVID. You know, when people were like dropping like flies, I mean, there was really a time when, yo, people were dropping like flies, eh? But here we are. That's something to be grateful about. That God has kept you, you know. So whether a situation is bad, He is going to take you out of it. He's going to. And it's something that we all need to strongly believe. I myself also need to, you know, obviously remind myself all the time that, you know what, it will pass. It will pass. And when it does, oh my goodness, it's going to be so great. You know? You cannot dwell on bad things, because then essentially you become your own energy vampire. It's not even about you leaving the house. It's not even about you browsing social media. It's not even about you going to weird places. But you yourself become your own energy vampire, because the first moment when you wake up in the morning, the first word that you say is, ish. Dude, it's like 7 a.m. Why are you saying ish? What has happened so much in your life that already, just as you wake up, your first word is ish? So that ish you must replace with gratitude. Look outside your window and say, thank you, Lord, for rain. Or thank you, Lord, for a sunny day. Thank you, Lord, that I'm able to get out of bed and walk to the bathroom and take a shower or take a bath or whatever your situation, you know. Replace such words with positive ones. Another thing that I do is when I'm thinking about negative things, immediately, bruh. Like, immediately. I'm like, no, positive, positive, positive. And then I try to think about something positive. I try to think about something that makes me happy. Another thing that puts me in great mood is listening to music. So if I'm not doing like spiritual things, if I'm not reading, you know, if I'm not watching like a great movie, you know, um I play my favorite tracks and I just jam. One man. Particularly when I take a bath at night. When I take my nighttime bath, I will play the jams, man, and I will just be in the music. I'm just there. I'm just like, yo, you know. And you know, the thing about music is that sometimes it just takes you to that place. You know, when it takes you back, you're like, oh, I remember in high school when this is what we were doing, and you know, oh yo, I remember Mang Mang's wedding. You know, like there's a track, yeah, Yasitelo, Forever. It was this, I was a bridesmaid in 2019, my friend's wedding, and we were dancing to that track. Now it's a step, Forever. Yo, guys, yo, every time I listen to that track, it takes me back to the wedding. So automatically, it takes me to a good mood because obviously it was a happy day, you know. So I just reminisce on that day. I reminisce on the preps. I reminisce on how it was just like a great year, you know. It automatically takes me to a great year, guys. I also met the love of my life in 2019. Well, I'm like, I didn't meet him. I didn't know about him in 2019. We first got, I first knew of him in 2017, but in 2019 we got together. You know, finally I gave that nigga a chance. Ooh. So it also takes me back to that, you know. So it's like music will just, it will just make you feel great, guys. So if you don't know how to lift your spirits up when you're feeling down, play a good track. Just get yourself a playlist. Create a playlist that these are your favorite songs. These songs that just fill you up, and you don't know, like, yeah, when you're playing them, you're just in great mood. It's not wrong to just dance on the one. Just do it. Just dance, man, dance. Whether you can or you can't, you know, it's a good thing. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your emotional health. It's good for your spiritual health, guys. Just do it. Also, worship songs. You know, when you're in tune with your spirit, né? When you're in tune with your spirit, you will feel when you need worship songs. Like, I know. I could think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna take a long drive, you know, and I'm gonna play I'm a piano. I'm going to be playing hip hop. I'm gonna be playing R&B. I get into the car and my spirit says, your gospel playlist, and I worship the entire way. I worship the entire way, you know. And the other thing is, with the gospel music, the gospel songs that I have, it's obviously songs that I like also, but I also want to understand the message. So, for example, Hallelujah Nkateko is that song does things to me, guys. Like, spiritually, it puts me in such a great place. I don't wanna lie, like, it's an amazing track. But I think it's in Tonga, if I'm not mistaken. I don't understand Tonga. So what I did, I googled. I googled the translation. So now when I sing along, I know what I'm saying. I know exactly what I'm saying, and I'm feeling it because you know, I'm in there. I understand exact. I'm not just listening to a good track, but I understand what the lyrics are saying. So it's also important that when you choose your worship songs, it's songs that you can also, it's songs that you understand. If you don't understand but you feel like this is a good track, guys, Google. Google is your friend, eh? Just Google. Check the lyrics, and you will thank me later. You'll come back here and you'll say, hey girl, yo, I took your advice on this and it really worked for me, hey? So, one last thing that I just want to also just leave you guys with. A few weeks ago, um, my friend said to me, the person in your life is a reflection of what you think of yourself. So, guys, please choose wisely. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know, but in loving yourself, choose the people around you well. You can't choose family, but you can choose who you keep close. Your friends, you definitely choose. Your partner, you definitely choose, guys. And you have to love yourself. People think self care is self love. No, guys, getting your nails done says nothing about your self love. It tells us nothing about whether you love yourself or not. One thing we can pick up is you're a really neat person. You want to be a lady, you want to be neat. You know, but it doesn't tell us if you love yourself. And we'll see how much you love yourself with the people that you really keep around you, because those are a reflection of who you are. As much as we don't like hearing that, but the people in your life are really, the people that you keep close are really a reflection of who you are and what you think of yourself. So the moment you start letting people abuse you and being okay with it, guys, then please go to therapy. Please go to therapy. I don't know why black men don't like therapy. I don't know. A lot of the people that I talk to, women, they like they don't mind therapy. Some even do go to, you know, to therapy, whether they need it or not. And guys, the thing with therapy, né, I was just wanna say, therapy is that you don't need to be going through something to go to therapy. But when you do go, it helps you see why you react to certain things a certain way. Because a lot of our reactions are trauma based, but you don't know. You're probably reacting to, you probably don't like, for example, weird example, but for example, you don't like strawberries. Like, you just like, no, man, you know, only to find out in therapy that the reason you don't like strawberries is because you once went, or your parents or somebody back in your childhood um took you to like a strawberry farm, whatever they call those things, and you witnessed something tragic there. So now your referencing with strawberries just became clouded um with that tragedy. But because maybe you were like 3 years old or something, you forgot. Because that's what happens with our minds as well. You know, when sometimes, like, I know that's what happened with me, is my, after like certain tragic events happened, it's almost like my mind blocked all those things out. So what happened is, I don't want to say I had memory loss, but I think I experienced some memory loss. There's certain things that I can't remember in my childhood. And I try so hard, but I don't remember, because that's what happens with your mind. It blocks things out. It gets there, you know. When you don't deal with trauma, you know, when you don't deal with all these tragic events. So, guys, go to therapy, guys. Men, go to therapy, guys. Please talk to your husbands. Please talk to your partners, your brothers, whatever. Go to therapy, guys. I think, personally, I think it's important to like go, like, just have a session, like maybe twice a year, once a year. I don't know, but like, go. Life is hard. Adulting is hard. Yeah, we have easy moments, guys, but it's hard. You're dealing with different people all the time, people that are adults themselves, people that are also seeing flames with adulting. So do go. I highly recommend therapy. I highly recommend it. It really helps you also to see how the people that you know, how and why they act in a certain way. It helps you understand humans. It helps you understand some psychological behaviors, which makes it a lot easy for you to then navigate around people, because then you'll know, okay, but this person had so. It's not because they are evil. It's not because they're like malicious or whatever, you know, but it's because they are acting and behaving from trauma, and they need to get out of it, you know. So it's helped me a lot. It's helped me a lot, because honestly, like, I don't want to lie. So yeah, anyway, back to self-love and self-care. Self-care is not self-love, but please practice them both. Please take care of yourself, guys. Take care of yourself, like, all the time. Go on dates. Date yourself. Date yourself, guys. It's got every single time when you want to go out for a meal, you need company. Go find out if you're a great person. Go find out if when you can enjoy your own company. Because you need to enjoy it as well. You can't expect other people to be like, oh, you are such great company, but you don't even know if you really are. Go find out. The other thing that I love doing, so I really date myself like all the time. I do. Other thing I do is that I, you know, with my long part, like, I have days where I take really long baths, like really long. But I'm just there in, in the bath, salt and bubble bath and all of that good stuff, and I'm just like taking care of my body. I'm just like, yo, let me be in this, and I really enjoy it. It's part of how I also just be like, this is me. This is for me, nobody else. This is a little pamper session for myself. Playing my favorite music, whatever it is, be it a gospel playlist, hip hop, R&B, whatever that I'm feeling at that moment. I'm playing and I'm just having me and alone time. Getting my nails done is also like a form of self-care for me. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel like I genuinely love getting my nails done. Like, it's like I genuinely love it. Every time I have plain nails, I'm like, no. Like, now my nails have to be redone. I'm not gonna show y'all, but I'm sure you've been seeing, because I talk with my hands. Yeah, I need to get my nails redone. But that's how I also just take care of myself, doing my hair, looking pretty, you know. But the self-love, how I've learned to love myself and to show myself love, is to give myself the things that I expect from other people, things that money can't pay for. So quality time, choosing what I deserve, and standing my ground and being firm and saying, this is what I want. And if the next person cannot do it for me, you know what, then let's rethink our friendship, let's rethink our relationship, let's rethink whatever relation there is between us. Let's rethink it. It's not good to settle, guys. Don't settle. Don't settle. Because the moment you settle, you have nobody but yourself to blame when your energy is off. Because it will always be off when you are settling. It will always be off when you're miserable and you're not happy. Another thing, please do the things that you love. Do the things that you love. Get into your hobbies and like do things that you love, guys. I also think it's so wrong when parents choose for their children what to study. It's wrong. It's wrong because unawarely you are creating a miserable adult. So it's first a teenager who's going to be happy. They get their degree or their diploma, whatever, But if it's not something that they love, and if the parent does not give the support for them to do what they love, they become miserable adults. In turn, they become abusive. They become these emotionally abusive people who everything, because they are so miserable that they have to make other people miserable. Hurt people hurt people. This is why we go back to therapy, guys. Therapy. Do it. And when you are also spiritually tuned with yourself, you will get the confidence, you will get that push to pursue the things that you love. Guys, if people cut you off because you're doing what makes you happy and because you're doing what you love, it's okay. They can cut you off. Also, guys, I'm not talking about drugs and alcohol and like, no, I'm not talking about such things. I'm really talking about things that make sense, things that are meaningful. If people cut you off because you are choosing yourself, because you are choosing your happiness, guys, it's okay. Let them go. Let them cut you off. This life thing is short, hey? This life thing is too short, but in the same breath, this life thing is too long. Imagine I'm 30 years old. Imagine I live to be 90. I've got 40 more years to go. Imagine being miserable for 40 years because I'm too afraid to do what I love. Because I'm too afraid to pursue the things that I love, and I'm too afraid to lose people. I'm too afraid for certain friends or certain family members or whoever to cut me off. That's a long time, man. But imagine I live to be 31, and in the next year, I'm living the rest of my life. The 1 year that I have left, I'm living it miserable. That's gonna be a very sad case. Imagine going to heaven, guys. Dying and going to heaven, and you go with all your gifts. Like your gifts are there, like oh, I still have 98% of my gifts not used. No, guys, like no, it's bro. Like, what were you doing? Because I gave you this, I gave you that, I gave you that talent, that gift, whatever. No, it's on. So use your gifts, guys, and talents. We all have them. We all have them. This is where you need to be self-aware as well, so that you know. So that you know what you're passionate about, what makes you tick, what makes your spirit happy. Go figure it out if you don't know yet. Start giving yourself time. Start spending quality time with yourself. Be it taking yourself out on dates, sitting alone in your room, having self-introspection, meditating. Do something and find out who you are. The first energy vampire that you need to get rid of is yourself. Before you wanna be every year we cutting people off. The fact that every year there's actually people that on a yearly basis, like annually, they have people to cut off. It puzzles me. Like, what kind of people do you have in your life that you must be cutting people off every year? Also, how many people do you need? Like, how many people do you have in your life? That's a lot. Because you must have like 200 people in your life that every year you must filter. Yes. Why do you need so many people? Why do you need like so many friends? Every year you must filter. But when it goes back down to the people that you have around you say a lot about yourself. So this is where you now need to sit with yourself and find out what it is about yourself that keeps attracting people that need to be cut off on a yearly basis. Why are you attracting such people all the time? And you must say, they're not going to my new year. Choose you. Choose you first before you want other people to choose you. We teach people how to treat us. Figure it out, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, I think I said a lot. On that note, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Or you will see me next time. But I'll see you guys in the comment sections, right? So please do like, comment, share, subscribe. Please, guys, do all of that good stuff for me. And yeah, ponder on everything that I said. And yeah, man, I wish you guys a great day. I wish you guys all the happiness and all the positivity, yeah, all the good stuff, man, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, especially spiritually. Guys, thank you so much. Hey, God bless.